Seeking Kate Walker. Nick Cantin's report. December 30th, 2004. Dear Mrs. Foster, it is with great pleasure that I am able to inform you that Miss Walker has escaped from the mine. Sadly, however, according to the guards, her cellmate did not survive the breakout. That makes one more death for the fugitive to mourn. She apparently headed west toward an unknown destination. Maybe she's headed for an airport, who knows? The plane ticket that you sent with the letter might have had the desired effect. After all, there aren't any more castles in the sky for Kate Walker to go searching for, are there? November 7th, 2005. Dear Mrs. Foster, thank you for the information in your last letter. It should allow me to get back on track. If Miss Walker was last seen in Vaghen, then Vaghen is where I'm headed.
Miss Walker? Miss Walker? Ah, there you are.
Please excuse me, Frau Wagner. I was trying to decipher this. Is everything okay?
I found these for you. They might help you find that Müller shop you asked about.
Thank you, Frau Wagner. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, dear. I'll be at the reception desk if you need anything else.
Right. Guess I'd better start looking for shops called Müller that are likely to sell art supplies. This shop could sell the painting case. Well, maybe. Can't be this shop. These three make up a good basis to work from. Let's see if I can rule out a couple using the map. I guess this shop is as good as any. Okay, so these three shops are the most likely to have sold the painting case. I need to pick the right one now. The antique shop from the phone book is located in this district. Looks like it's full of similar stores. An industrial estate. Difficult to imagine an art supply shop could have prospered here. The shop I found in the phone book must be a hardware store or something similar. The district seems like it's changed a lot since when the phone book came out. Looks like the pawnbroker I found is no longer in business. No doubt about it. This antique shop is probably my best shot. Better hang on to the address. Just need to get the painting from my room and I can go and show it to the antique dealer. Now I get why they call this part of town the Flower District. It's very calm here. Still haven't bumped into any guests since I arrived yesterday, and that suits me fine.
Vaghener Post, clandestine mine dismantling. Wartime spoils found in clandestine salt mine. The discovery of a clandestine salt mine in the Iron Taiga region has both shocked campaigners of human rights and rocked the art world. It is reported that police descended on the illegal underground enterprise following a tip-off from a former slave. But slave labor was not the only surprise the police had in store. In one of the caverns, they discovered a steam engine with several wagons full of prized wartime spoils. The missing masterpieces and other precious objects of art are said to have been stolen by the Brown Shadow during World War II. The find is estimated to be worth several $100 million. Police Chief Viktor Palinsky said, "The operators and the jailers have been detained and the mine has been dismantled. The slaves have been identified and, after a short period of hospitalization, will be released to their next of kin." According to one hospital source, many slaves have been reporting that they had not been mining salt as was previously understood, but ivory and strange artifacts. The police have not yet commented on these reports, only stating that the investigation is ongoing. With regards to the stolen art, Palinsky added, "Once our team of art experts has listed and identified the stolen objects, the difficult task will be to return them to their rightful owners." However, Chief Palinsky and his team might not have to look very far for the owners of many of the items. The authorities have already received hundreds of calls from people around the world claiming to hold proof of stolen family heirlooms and artwork.
I get the impression I've seen that before someplace. There must be 3 years' worth of emails I haven't read here. Better do some cleaning up. Ah, that's better. Way too many results that way. I'd never have located the Müller shop. Good thing I had Frau Wagner's documents.
Vaghen is the capital of Osterthal, a small country in Central Europe with a population of 9 million people. The city is built along the bank of the river Domber, the third longest river in Europe, and is bordered by the Alps that separate it from Switzerland. As the fourth largest German-speaking city in the world, Vaghen is renowned for its history, with its origins dating back to the 6th century, and for its architecture largely influenced by the Art Nouveau movement. Devastated by a fire at the beginning of the 20th century, Vaghen became largely mechanized during its subsequent reconstruction. It since offers numerous curiosities that have fascinated generations of travelers and tourists. Its population, estimated today to be at 1.5 million inhabitants, was subject to a marked decrease during the Second World War. Vaghen, like the rest of Osterthal, was annexed by the fascists of the Brown Shadow. These fascists generalized persecutions against the significant local Vaghen community until the community was wiped out during the genocides set up throughout Europe during the following years. The number of Vaghen victims from Vaghen is estimated at over 100,000 people. The Iron Taiga refers to a region of Eastern Europe that has remained largely wild. It is mostly known for having been a defense line of the USSR during the Cold War. Soviet forces deployed a large amount of heavy military equipment in the region for the prevention of an eventual attack from the forces of NATO. Much of this equipment was abandoned on the collapse of the Soviet Union and left to rust or to be recycled by scrap metal and arms dealers. The region is rich in salt and includes a number of industrial hamlets that emerged with the expansion of mining. The activity was subject to a strong decline during the perestroika or restructuration era when the Soviet industrial fabric was sold piece by piece to the private sector. Some mines remained open but became the theater of shady operations linked to organized crime and identity splinter groups.
I wish you could be here with me now, Katyusha. We would have found the shop together.
Fallen idol goes missing, January 14, 2001. Katerina Spiridonova, the one-time idol of Soviets' youth, is reported missing. The child prodigy, also known as Katyusha, joined the prestigious Soviet choral at an early age. Many were her fellow countryfolk who shed a tear on hearing her performance on state radio of the famous song that gave her nickname, Katyusha. The homonym owes nothing to chance. Indeed, Katyusha's parents, devoted party officials, had planned out her life with the goal of making her the epitome of the model citizen. But on reaching adolescence, Katyusha began to rebel. Moving from one more or less radical libertarian group to another, Katyusha ended up supporting every struggle against the established order. She militated for the rights of women, homosexuals, and every oppressed minority in general. A defiance took shape in the early 2000s when Katyusha co-founded a punk group. Their provocative lyrics and parody of a cabaret and patriotic songs began finding an echo in circles with a liberal tendency in the West. It would seem that the young woman disappeared in mysterious circumstances a few nights ago after a concert when driving an old van belonging to the band on a country road. The wreck of the vehicle was found at the bottom of a river. However, one police source confirms that Katyusha's body has not been found, but that all the evidence suggests that her body has been carried away by the river. This has been contested by the other members of Katyusha's band. The young women claim that their leader's disappearance was mandated by their political enemies to reduce their friend to silence. There is nothing, however, to support this conspiracy theory.
Oh my God, Mom was buried months ago.
August 25, 2003. Sarah Walker, following a long illness, sadly passed away at the age of 65 on August 23, 2003. Involved in the field of culture, especially in opera, and much loved by her neighbors and friends, she leaves behind her happy memories to all who knew her. Sarah was also the mother of the brilliant lawyer, Kate Walker, who has not been seen since she left for Europe over a year ago. The burial of Sarah has been postponed by 1 week to give extra time for the news to reach her daughter. It is hoped that Miss Walker will be able to come home to say a last farewell to her mother. Olivia Foster, a long-standing friend of the family, invites all those who would like to pay their last respects to Sarah Walker to attend the religious service at 2 p.m. on August 28. Olivia and her husband, Dan, would like to thank everyone who joins them in their grief, as well as Frank Makovich and the staff at Mount Sinai Hospital. The brown shadow is a term used to designate the wave of National Socialism that swept across Europe in the first half of the 20th century. It first came to light in the 1920s in Central Europe, It rose to power in the 1930s and subsequently won over the rest of Europe, so triggering the Second World War. In addition to civil and military victims of the ensuing conflict, the racist ideology of the Brown Shadow is responsible for genocides that led to the systematic and organized deaths of millions of people. These genocides were carried out in a systematic and relentless manner until the liberation of the victims by Allied forces.
Oh, hi, dear. So, Miss Walker, were the documents of any help to you?
Yes, I was even able to locate the shop I'm looking for. Thank you so much, Frau Wagner.
Good. Let me know if there's anything else I can help you with.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about your guest house, Frau Wagner?
Oh, I'd be delighted. What would you like to know?
I'd love to know more about you, Frau Wagner.
Oh, there's not much to tell, really. At least nothing that would change the course of history.
But I'm sure you've had an eventful life, haven't you?
Well, I was born just after the war in Vaghen, and I've never left. I opened this place and ran it with my husband until he died a few years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
You see, nothing to write home about. Then again, we were never ones for excitement, really. But we were happy, my husband and I.
Things seem to be quiet today.
Oh, there's never many guests at this time of year.
Actually, is she a guest too?
Oh, yes. She arrived earlier. An elderly English lady. A former military officer, if I understood correctly. They say she's come on some rather unpleasant business. A burial, from what I can gather. Yes, Miss Walker. And she hasn't let go of the telephone since she got here.
The room's just perfect. Thank you so much.
There's no need to thank me, Miss Walker. It's my job to make sure my guests are comfortable. And it's not every day we get a young American lady on a motorbike in the middle of the night looking for a mysterious shop. It makes me feel like I'm in a detective novel.
I have a few questions about Vaghen.
Good, because if you'd asked me about the latest scientific discovery, I'd have to say pass. But if it's about Vaghen, then you've come to the right person, my dear.
What can you tell me about the district?
Well, it's one of the oldest districts in Vaghen, traditionally working class. Myself and a few of the other relics who live here do try to keep it from modernization and mass tourism as best as we can. Other districts haven't been so careful, and the locals have been forced to leave their district because of rising rent prices.
To be honest, I haven't had much time to find out about Vaghen and the surrounding area. What is it I should know?
For one, Vaghen is very old, renowned for its charm and culture. As for the surrounding area, it attracts mountain lovers mostly, it being so near to the Swiss Alps, of course. The banks of the Dombra, the longest river in the country, are the delight of summer vacationers.
Apparently the shop I'm looking for is located in Vaghen's Antiques district. Could you tell me how to get there from the guest house?
Your best bet is to take the tram, miss. The town centre is almost entirely pedestrian, and your motorbike won't be of any use there. You'll find the nearest tram stop at the top of the stairs, to your right as you go out of the guest house.
My, quest here is closely linked to the region of Vaghen. Could you tell me a little bit about its history?
I'd be glad to.
The woman I'm looking for must have been about 18 in 1937. Was this an important date in the history of Vaghen?
Not that I know of, no. But I'm not much of a historian, and I wasn't even born then. All I know is that the Troubles came the following years, with the Second World War. So that year must have been a boom year for fascist ideology, when the Brown Shadow was still just another party vying for power by preaching hate.
I found out about the woman I'm looking for thanks to a painting that must have been pillaged by the Brown Shadow during World War II.
Doesn't surprise me. Vaghen, and by extension all of Ostertal, was annexed and occupied by the fascists just before the war. They sacked, stole, and pillaged everything they could, just like they did in the rest of occupied Europe.
Nothing else comes to mind for the moment. Thank you for your time.
Well, feel free to come back and ask if you have any more questions.
It's busy.
World War II Remembrance Tour of Vaghen. As a tribute to the thousands of Vagrants deported or killed by the Brown Shadow during World War II, this Remembrance Tour will take you to the major locations where wartime horrors took place. We hope you will leave time for some silence as you stroll along this moving walk through history. It will take you to the following locations: the Bridge of Mists, the district that suffered the most from the terrible anti-Vagren raids in 1938. Remembrance Lane in the Musician District, where Vagrants from the ghetto were cold-bloodedly executed along with those who tried to protect them. And finally, the Central Train Station, where thousands of innocent people were loaded onto the train of death. We will remember them.
Hans. According to this flyer, he came to Vaghen during one of his trips.
1919, Ostertal is formed from the dividing up of several states after their defeat during the Great War. Vaghen becomes its capital in a difficult economical climate. 1933, as the Great Depression from the United States reaches its height in Europe, the situation becomes critical in Vaghen, with an unemployment rate exceeding 25%. 1934, Vaghen owes its salvation to a strange French inventor by the name of Hans Vorarlberg. This young man, on passing through the town on one of his numerous trips to the east, stayed in Vaghen to mechanize the entire city, which was destroyed by fire, so creating thousands of jobs that boosted the stagnant economy before he disappeared as he had appeared. We owe him notably the town jewel, the musical square. 1938, after years of growth, Brown Shadow fascists annexed Vaghen. There followed a night of murderous raids against the Vagren people. 1945, after years of fascist occupation, Vaghen is finally liberated by the Allied forces consisting of Soviet, America, British and French troops. A victory greatly facilitated by the local networks of resistance fighters. 1955, after a decade of being administrated by Allied forces, Vaghen, and by extension Ostertal, recovers its full sovereignty and begins to transform its local economy. 1995, Ostertal becomes a member of the European Union.
I hope it'll be just as calm when I get back. Wouldn't mind some alone time by the fire. Hope it still works. I think that's Frau Wagner's room. That's not my room. Better not go in. Vaghen is surrounded by the Alps. Switzerland is right on the other side. I understand why Wageners call their town the heart of Europe. It's literally in the center of it. That's Germany over there. I wonder how far Barokstadt University is from here. Katusha's punk group. Would love to have seen them. The meager amount I've managed to save since I escaped from the mine. I'll find her, Katusha, just like I promised. And we'll find out who she is, or was. Perfect. I just need to take this painting to the antique shop I found earlier. Maybe Frau Wagner can tell me how to get there. Nice. It seems like a lifetime since I enjoyed some good old-fashioned comfort. Room might not be as cozy as a you call yurt, but it's sure more spacious. How strange to be here in Vaghen. After months of roaming from east to west on a motorbike, after taking odd jobs here and there to build up a little nest egg to finance this trip, and to be able to stay in this guest house for a time. Lucky Frau Wagner let me in despite my appearance when I arrived, with my meager means. The days when Marson and Lormont paid for my travel expenses seems far away now. It's like they were someone else's memories, fading away with passing time. Guess I've changed. Since the death of Mom and Katusha, pursuing my hypothetical double on the painting turned out to be too tempting. Comforting, even. In any case, I promised Katusha I would find her.
With all due respect to my other guests, it is nice to have someone young for a change.
If you don't mind, I'm in the middle of a call.
Can't you see that the telephone is taken? Wait your turn, won't you?
Yes. I arrived safe and sound. I hope to proceed with the identification as soon as they have extracted them out. What? Can't I hang up now? All right. I'll wait. But please, try to be as quick as possible. It's a dreadful business, if you ask me.
Miss Walker, really? I must protest, that is no way to behave. I'm sorry, but I really can't have you eavesdropping in my establishment.
I'm sorry, but I wasn't... I mean, it's not what it seems.
Have a nice day, Miss Walker.
The Dombre Guest House. According to what I've read, the Dombre is the longest river in Ostertal and runs through Vaghen. Pity Vaghen is practically all pedestrian. After all those months on the road, I've gotten kind of fond of that old bike. Going by what Frau Wagner told me when I first arrived, this used to be a working-class district. Nowadays, I bet everyone wants to snap up these old houses, just like in Brooklyn. There's a tramway map at the end of the street next to the station. It should tell me how to get to the Antiques District. This district is just so beautiful. Must be the Botanical Gardens. Too bad it's closed. Well, the guest house in that neighborhood sure are the best things to happen to me since... who knows. But I should go and take the tram now.
Have you heard what the Thor uncovered up in the mountain?
At Devil's Pass, you mean? I did hear something on the news before coming out. What's the latest, then?
They reckon they've found remains dating back to World War II, when Alpine resistance networks led refugees across into Switzerland. Nasty times were those.
Yes, not the best times in our history, were they?